Hi, everyone. Good morning. It's great to see you all here, conference maximizers, and for a day of privacy, so excited to be here. I'm Andrew. I work on the ZK Bob protocol. We are a privacy-preserving smart contract wallet, and it anonymizes senders, receivers, and amounts through zero-knowledge proofs. We've been working on this protocol for over 2 years in R&D. About 8 months now, we have been deployed on Polygon and Optimism. And today just wanted to share some learnings as far as how we've worked with compliance to incorporate it into our privacy protocol and how other privacy protocols can start to do that. As we know, privacy is a huge transition that needs to happen for adoption. So in a recent blog post, Vitalik mentioned 3 things. L2 scaling needs to improve, wallet security, and privacy. Why do we need privacy? There's a lot of reasons, right? It's a basic human right. That's kind of our first reason that we need privacy. And we need to have the choice to be able to share information as we choose to share it and not have it just out there by default. And this extends to our private lives as well as our financial lives. So how much money we receive, how we spend our money on medical services, donations, all those NFTs in our wallets, that's our own private information and not something that should just be out there. We can choose to share it or not. And this can even extend to personal safety. If someone has a lot of assets or a lot of NFTs, and you can see all of their transactions, it opens up possibilities for manipulation and even threats to our physical well-being. From a business perspective, there are tons of use cases, vendor relationships, who we're buying from, how much we're spending. All of those things are our competitive advantage as a business. We shouldn't be sharing those. It can extend to trading strategies as well. Someone comes up with a trading strategy, the minute they implement it, it's on chain. We should be able to keep those private. And of course, remittances cross-border need to be kept private to avoid any manipulation. We're getting there. From a technology standpoint, we've made some huge gains in the past several years. ZK Bob uses ZK snarks, which allows us to anonymize the sender, receiver, and transfer amounts. We've been optimizing this protocol so that it can be used on mobile phones now. It can create zero-knowledge proofs in that way. Another topic that has been lately popularized is the idea of stealth addresses. This is where you can have a meta address, and the sender can then create one-time private addresses and be able to send like small cap assets, NFTs, and other things. And this technology is coming along. In fact, we're getting there. With ZK Bob, you can transfer assets privately. So we're there, right? Not so fast. We're living in what many call a post-tornado cash world. Compliance is not really an option anymore in some ways. If you want your users to feel safe, if you want users to be able to use a protocol and not worry about sanctions or other things that can happen, we need to be able to provide some sort of compliance. This is a great article to kind of wrap your head around, and one that we've used with ZK Bob in order to inform some of our decisions. It's called Privacy Protecting Regulatory Solutions Using Zero-Knowledge Proofs, and it is by the folks at A16Z, along with Dan Bonet. He's a Stanford blockchain researcher. And basically, they posit 3 main ideas of ways that we can use ZK proofs in order to provide compliance for these protocols. The first is deposits. We just need to prevent the funds from getting in the first place, illicit funds. So we can check sanctioned wallets. We can check for sanctioned wallets. If the wallet has some sort of illicit activity, we simply do not let it deposit into the privacy protocol. The same goes for withdrawals. So with withdrawals, you actually need to not only check the withdrawing address, but during the time of withdrawal, check the original depositing address. As we've seen, someone can have a bridge hack, move a bunch of funds into a privacy protocol, let it simmer for a few days, and then withdraw. If during that simmering period, the depositing address is sanctioned, we're able to check that and make sure that people can't withdraw from the protocol as well. And then finally, the idea of reporting. So protocols need to provide some method of being able, for users to be able to access their information. We can break these down into two basic ideas. They can even rhyme: prevention, retention. So with prevention, we're just trying to keep bad funds out. We're trying to, if they do slip in, we're trying to prevent withdrawals. And then retention, we need to have a method for showing records to users that they can access via their private key, not available to everyone, but accessible via private key, and then be able to share those with those that they choose to. Let me talk a little bit about what we've done at ZK Bob to incorporate some of these ideas. As I mentioned with prevention, deposit and withdrawal screening, first of all. So depositing addresses are always checked, and withdrawal addresses are also checked. In addition, we have a whitelisting capability for businesses. So there's several businesses that use ZK Bob to send salary payments. This is a great use case for privacy. And for those KYB users, they can have inherited KYC for their employees because we assume the business knows who their employees are. So with that whitelist, we're able to allow for higher deposits for those users. We also use TRM labs to screen for deposits. This is still a centralized service, something we're still working towards decentralizing, but for now, this is what we use. And this is a way to really kind of protect users within the protocol. Deposit limits. It prevents large hacks from ever entering the pool. As we know, last year with Tornado, every week it seemed like there were millions of dollars going into Tornado from hacked funds. Railgun had a $200 million Harmony Bridge hack roll in. So what we can do is prevent that from happening by lowering the deposit limits. It's really a pretty simple solution. With ZK Bob, we allow for 10K USD per day and then 300K total so that someone can't just create hundreds of wallets and start depositing. It also provides time to catch up if there is a hack, can move a few funds into the protocol, but then it catches up and they can't continue to move the funds in. Another idea is optional KYC, not having it be mandatory, but with KYC being able to have higher deposit limits. And this can use ZK Snarks to provide proof that a user has passed KYC. At ZK Bob, we use something called the Know Your Cat protocol, which is basically an NFT that allows for certain traits to be added on. And the trait that we use is called the BAB token. It's the Binance KYC token. If someone has that token, we know that they have passed Binance's KYC. And this can also be used to keep some users out of the protocol because, for example, US users can't use Binance, so it acts as a geofence in that way. Again, Geo Restrictions, this isn't the only thing that you can do, but it can act as another deterrent. On the retention side, so this is the reporting side, something called selective de-anonymization. The ability to have your transactions and choose to share them as you wish. So users can access and share the records with those who want them. With ZK Bob, you can download a full CSV of your transactions and share those for tax reasons or other reasons. And the idea of read-only keys. So at ZK-Bob, we use something called intermediate keys, which uses nullifiers. It's a little bit more user-friendly solution than just allowing for read-only keys. For example, Railgun uses this in their privacy application. And it's great to share with regulators because they can see all transactions. The unfortunate part is they can see all future transactions as well. So it's a problem from a privacy perspective. Some key takeaways I'd like to make sure that you come away with today. We need both, right? We need privacy. More than ever, we need privacy. But we also need compliance. If we don't have both of those, it's not going to work going forward. So we need to find ways that we can incorporate compliance into our privacy applications. And it's possible. It's possible today. Applications can introduce prevention and retention strategies in order to provide that basic compliance. And I invite privacy protocols or protocols who are incorporating privacy into their protocols to be proactive. You know, we need to set the agenda here. We need to put in some of these things in place instead of waiting for the compliance people to decide what they want to do. So we put these in, and then, you know, we can find some sort of middle ground where we can work together to provide responsible personal privacy for people. Now, really, this just scratches the surface. There are definitely some open questions that still need to be addressed. First and foremost, what are the actual compliance requirements? You know, we still don't know. We still don't know from the tornado situation what exactly the problem is and what the solution is. So if we can get some more clarity there, it's going to help everyone to be able to enact more compliance into their privacy protocols. Which assets do we want to use in our privacy protocols? You know, with ZK-Bob, we started with Bob, which is a stable coin. It's kind of a niche stable coin. And without enough users, the anonymization suffers. So what we've done is add an ETH pool. We're adding a USDC pool. We want to use some larger cap assets that have enough volume to provide true privacy there. Contract upgradability. You know, do we want to incorporate proxy patterns into our contracts? I think it's important as things are moving so quickly, or if there's a hack or something, we may need to make changes. But probably the most important question here is then who decides? You know, who enforces these rules? Who is allowed to make updates to the contract? So there's still some work to be done on the governance side, on the decentralization side, to make sure that we're protecting people's assets and, most importantly, protecting their privacy. So we've got a lot of presentations today. This is a quick one today. Excited for a day of privacy. And the ZK-Bob team is here. I invite you to try our application and see how compliance and privacy can work together. It's at app.zkbob.com. We also have some gift cards. We'd love to share with you some assets to give them a try in ZK-Bob. Thanks so much.